Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be actually talking about a creator I used to subscribe to and no longer have since November of 2022. I wanted to talk about this because this has been on my mind for a while and I wanted to talk about it until this whole entire, if you could even call it drama, has slowed down a bit. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this because we're talking about a content creator that was known to be a very verbally abusive boyfriend. And I don't say that lightly, I really don't. As someone myself who's had a abusive boyfriend myself in the past, I don't take this stuff very lightly. And if anyone is in an abusive relationship, I did actually leave the National Domestic Violence Hotline down in the description below if you guys are struggling through it. And go get professional help, because let me tell you right now, I know how this content creator's ex feels. In fact, actually, I still follow his ex very much. I've actually subscribed to her content since I was actually during at the beginning of college I was in. That's how long I have subscribed to her, because I first got introduced to his ex back when, after I watched Black Friday's YouTube channel, which was actually the very first goth creator I've actually subscribed to on the platform. And then I got into the ex's content, and that ex that is Toxic Tears, also known as Kaya. So yeah, by the title of the video, you know which content creator I have officially unsubscribed to for a while now, and have also unfollowed him on all platforms, and that person is Jake Munro. I wanted to talk about this from the moment when it all blew up, but I wanted to take some time because I know Kaya was already been through enough with the whole incident that's been going on online, and for the most part, Toxic Tears, Kaya herself, has mostly got more than supporters than haters, and unfortunately, the same thing goes with Jake Munro's too. And I'm going to get into that because I think we also need to understand the people who are still subscribed to Jake are, from what I heard, are still very young fans. They're still getting to know what their content creators are for the most part, not completely, you know, and as what I've heard of, they're still forgiving him despite some of the things that have gone on after the breakup. Now, if you guys don't know, Kaya and Jake broke up back around, I believe, in 2021. And I was actually still subscribed to both of them, even though the breakup was very public, because actually, these guys were together, from what I've heard, and I could be wrong about this if somebody corrects me, over 10 years. Yeah, actually, when these guys were, from what I've heard, still in high school, and holy crap, that is drastic. Because the abusive boyfriend I had was not even for a year, more like 8 months, when my boyfriend verbally abused me. I mean, my God, like, over 10 years, actually, from what I heard, I think they were together for like 12 or 11 years. My God, that is insane. And I'm sure it really didn't start off as bad, just like any other relationship, but then it drastically changed over time. And, you know, and it's so sad to hear about this because I did like Jake Munro as a person at first. I really did. I thought he was actually a really cool guy, and I thought that Kaya was really lucky to be with him, but over time, as we go through it, we all found out we were all wrong about that, because there have been some very serious things that Jake has done. The first thing being that he was cheating on Kaya multiple times, from what I've heard, especially with one incident with one woman who was already married and had a baby. Yeah, because that's what you do at your spare time. No, it's not. Most sane people don't do this. And the other thing about it was that it was very public over time. And before people start criticizing him. No, I'm not criticizing that he's got an OnlyFans and that his current girlfriend has an OnlyFans now. I don't care. But this was also during around a time these two would share several pictures together, and they weren't very explicit, but they were very risque, let's just say. And before people start judging me, yes, I did at one point used to subscribe to Jake Munro's OnlyFans. I don't anymore, especially after the other things that I've heard about him that are absolutely terrible. Now, they didn't go as far as like him raping anyone or, as much as beating up anybody, really, as far as I know. But I know the things that he pretty much exposed about him was that he was very verbally and emotionally abusive towards Kaya. And sorry, I don't take that very well with anyone who is abusive. Now, granted, it wasn't physical. I do remember that there were times that I heard that he has punched her a door, I believe, and I think some walls. I just remember mainly he punched her a door, and I know it was more than once. I know he said in a video that I think was deleted, but then it came back to his channel. And then, he said that he punched through that door one time.
She mentioned you would break her things and holes in them. I was a young man in my late teens, early 20s. I made Kaya very aware that I had an anger problem before the relationship started. I said I have a problem with anger. She was like, that's okay.
Kaya was only 16 when Jake said she consented to his violent behavior.
Got into the relationship. And of course, 19-year-old being thrust into the real world, having to, pay for a house, do a 9-to-5 job, paying bills, dealing with debt. That kind of thing. Very, very stressful time.
Jake was noted to be looking considerably less gothic during this festive breakdown.
I was frustrated. I was being beaten down by everything. I had no support network, no friends, no family to confide in. Kaya wasn't working. And if I vented that anger by punching a door, I feel like that's completely valid if I'm not hitting it.
Honestly, I'm not sure if I really believe that now looking back into it. I also want to go through the screenshots that I saw in his story when I was still following him at the time, and that's what actually made me want to unfollow him, not only from his other platforms, but also unsubscribe to him from YouTube and his OnlyFans. And it was these things I saw in this very first screenshot I have here, and that on a story where it says, in light of Kaya mentoring, she might delete her video. I've concluded that I'll do the same. Since Kaya has made it impossible for me to reach her, could someone let her know I'm willing to private my video in 10 minutes? As much as I wanted to tell my side of the story, things have gotten way out of hand, and all I want to do is move on. It was always my intention. Let's put an end to this, part ways for good, and start fresh in 2023. Zero mention of each other entirely. The support I've received has been overwhelming, and the unbridled hate was always expected, but this has ultimately been damaging to everyone involved, and the matter thing here would be to put a stop to it the way we did our breakup video. So I'll private my video in exactly 10 minutes, and I hope Kaya does the same. If not, I'll unprivate it again until we can reach an understanding. I'm sorry, but I have a problem with a lot of that. First of all, I have problems with that particular screenshot I took there of the story he posted there. One, why are you mentioning that you're gonna private a video? You want Kaya to private her own video she's gonna make about you? That's really controlling still, even after the breakup. I mean, why would you do that? Granted, I know nobody really likes to talk about their personal lives for the most part if you are a sane person. Not want to talk about it on the internet, but why are you mentioning that? I mean, it's like you're trying to hide something over the years that you and her knew about, and you didn't want the public to know that, which I already mentioned what the one thing was, that you cheated on her. But what were the other things too, besides, having anger issues, which, yeah, we probably should mention that as well too. This guy has major anger issues. The other thing I have a problem with that screenshot I just read there is that, why are you telling Kaya to, forget about all of this? Which, granted, again, I get why, you guys want to move on entirely, and it's granted she wants to move on from it too, but it's like you're still manipulating her and wavering around for her to say what you want her to say, not what she wants to say, to make her mental health a lot better and for her to get over it. Like, that's what it seems like to me. And the other thing there too I had to mention on that is, why does it matter to you? Okay, granted it matters to Kaya because she wants to let it all out, and it's clear that she doesn't really want to ruin your reputation, but at the other hand, you're trying to, tell one side of which, again, I think every side of the story needs to have both ends, to make sure is telling the truth of who is, and instead of just a he said, she said situation. But knowing the consistency that you have, Jake, it sounds like to me that you really don't want people to, not make others think you're the bad guy, which I hate to say this, but you kind of are. And I don't say that lightly, and I also don't usually say this about a content creator, but you're a dick, Jake. And for you to still manipulate your ex after all of this, I mean, you were and I think we also need to mention too, he was the one that broke up with her after so many years of being together. I think it was also mainly because he wanted to do his touring and his band, which is fine. The only thing I don't really dislike about Jake now is the music he makes, which is sad because I actually like the band he is involved in, his band Munro, named after his last name. But that's the sad reality. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of talented artists that are dicks in real life too, that are not doing their songwriting or their performing on stage, and that's the sad reality there. I would also like to mention this to people is that I went to his YouTube channel again. He still has that video where he's talking about his side of the story on his channel, so it's like he deleted it and then he brought it out back again on YouTube. I thought he said he wanted to delete it, but if Kaya still has her video, I guess he still wants to keep his too. But I guess maybe in that sense he's not really hiding completely, but knowing how inconsistent this man is, that's why I unsubscribed to him. Not only just because he's abusive, but also how inconsistent he is with a lot of his stories, and it makes me wonder what other stories he's been inconsistent with. And I also like to make out a personal info about myself a little bit, not too much, but I used to have this series called Paige Hebert's Art Transformation. And if you guys don't know, back in 2020, when the lockdowns were still going around of the pandemic, I made an artwork of like a caricature that was inspired by Jake Munro's aesthetic. And I will say this, it hasn't aged as badly as my MSI episode where I made a fan art of that band, but I will say I feel a little dirty now that I even made that episode of Art Transformations about that artwork I created that was inspired by his aesthetic and look. And also, I named an artwork also that was called Make It a Great Day, which was a catchphrase that Jake Munro said all the time in all of his videos. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I might change the title of that artwork. I'm not sure, but granted, I will say this, Jake Munro still isn't as bad as, let's say, Jimmy Urine or Steven Tyler or John Kay, like those men I've talked about, but I'm just more disappointed than anything. That's all I really got to say, and there's two really good videos to discuss the more details about what's wrong with Jake Munro. I actually left them down in the description below. I left a video by a creator on YouTube that doesn't even have 200 subscribers, but really shows what a complete asshole Jake is. It's from a channel called Boglim Hunter for Ultimate. I left that video down below. I also love Crystal K's video about his ego, what kind of person Jake Munro is too, and more other reasons why I've unsubscribed him. But mainly, in conclusion, Jake Munro's a dick, and his ego needs to be checked up, and he needs to go to anger management and get counseling. That's really all there is. Kaya, if you're watching this for some reason, I hope you get better. And if you want to talk to anybody or for anything, you can feel free to talk to me anytime. I'm open up on all my platforms if you're interested. And you seem like a really good person. I'm still subscribed to you in Black Friday still. And I think I wish you two ladies the best of it. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you like my content, subscribe to my channel. And if you want to go through any of my other platforms and look at my art shops, I left my link tree down below. Anyways, thank you all for watching.